He talked like he was untouchable.
I don't care if we spar or we fight, let's get it on.
Danced like he was unbeatable. And believed he was the next Floyd Mayweather. But on one unforgettable night, his arrogance met its reckoning. The loudmouth got humbled. The world watched a lesson in respect, written in punches.
Maidana that sticks another right hand. Broner goes down.
This is the story of how Marcos Maidana silenced Adrian Broner. Every era of boxing has that one fighter. The one who talks louder than everyone else. The one who makes headlines not for what he does in the ring, but for what comes out of his mouth.
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
In the early 2000s, that fighter had a name. Adrian "The Problem" Broner. Broner wasn't just a boxer. He was a walking performance. Chains shining, music blasting, and a grin that told you he already believed he'd won before the first punch was even thrown. Reporters loved him because he gave them quotes. Fans tuned in because he gave them drama. And his opponents? They hated him because he never shut up. Broner had the skills to back it up, at least for a while.
Broner out by taking punches.
Lightning fast hands, slick defense, and an ego big enough to fill an arena. When he burst onto the scene, people called him the next Mayweather, and he embraced that title like it was a crown. He copied Floyd's shoulder roll, the flashy suits, the money talk, even the arrogance. But where Floyd was coldly calculated, Broner was raw and reckless. He didn't just want to beat you. He wanted to humiliate you. That was Broner. Always on camera, always talking. Dancing during interviews, clowning his opponents, calling himself a superstar long before he earned it. To him, confidence was everything. To everyone else, it was arrogance, pure and loud. But here's the truth boxing fans know too well. The louder a fighter talks, the harder the fall usually hits. Broner's rise was fast, almost too fast. He started at lightweight, knocking out opponents with ease. Then he moved up, chasing bigger names, bigger stages, and bigger paydays. And every time his hand was raised, his ego grew another size. He called himself the Problem. But outside the ring, he was creating bigger ones for his image, for his career, and eventually, for himself. During interviews, Broner didn't just cross lines. He erased them. He bragged about his wealth, insulted fighters, and acted untouchable. The fans that once cheered for him began to turn. They saw less of a confident champion and more of a cocky pretender. He was living the lifestyle of a superstar, but forgetting the discipline that built one. There's a moment in every fighter's story where arrogance starts to outweigh preparation. And for Adrian Broner, that moment came when he looked across the table and saw a quiet man from Argentina staring back. A man who didn't speak English fluently. A man who didn't care about cameras or fashion or fame. A man who had fought his way out of poverty, learned to bite down on his mouthpiece and take punishment most couldn't survive. That man was Marcos El Chino Maidana. At first, the matchup looked like a showcase. Broner was the undefeated star, the new face of American boxing. Maidana, the underdog, the tough, heavy-handed brawler meant to make Broner look good. That's what the headline said. That's what Broner believed. And that's what made this story so perfect.
Ain't nobody hit me.
Because when a man starts believing his own hype, he stops seeing danger. And Maidana wasn't just danger. He was the storm, hiding behind the calm. Broner strutted into press conferences in designer shades, chewing gum, smirking like the main character in a movie. He made jokes at Maidana's expense, called him easy work, and even mocked his accent during interviews. Every word dripped with arrogance. Every smirk added fuel to the fire. Maidana never fired back verbally. He just stared. Quiet, cold, patient. The kind of patience that makes you nervous, because silence can be louder than any insult. The tension wasn't just about boxing anymore. It became personal. Broner represented everything flashy and arrogant. Maidana represented grit, humility, and work. It wasn't champion versus challenger. It was ego versus effort, fame versus hunger. And while Broner was busy living his superstar lifestyle, Maidana was in the gym, training harder than ever, sharpening his left hook, and promising himself that this fight would change everything. Because deep down, Maidana knew he wasn't just fighting for a title. He was fighting for respect. When the promos dropped, fans could already feel the tension. Broner bragged that he'd make Maidana look silly, that the fight wouldn't even be close.
I know he can't beat me.
He told reporters he didn't even know how to lose, and laughed at the thought of ever being humbled.
Man, he's an entertainer.
December 14th, I'ma beat his ass, though.
He was the villain the story needed,
Ain't nobody gonna beat me, and that's how I'm living.
the one you couldn't wait to see fall. And boxing fans? They'd seen enough. They were waiting, not for a fight, but for karma. By fight week, the line was drawn. Broner was the loudmouth villain. Maidana was the quiet executioner. And the world was ready to see which one would break first. In boxing, power can't hide behind words. Sooner or later, the truth shows up in the ring. And for Adrian Broner, that truth was wearing blue and gold trunks, carrying a left hook that would make the world cheer. Up next, the silent assassin from Argentina enters the stage. He doesn't talk, he doesn't dance, he just fights. This is the story of the man who turned trash talk into tears. Marcos El Chino Maidana. Marcos Maidana wasn't born into luxury. He wasn't handed fame, or money, or hype. He was born in the dusty plains of Santa Fe, Argentina, where hard work wasn't a choice, it was survival. His hands weren't made to point cameras or sign autographs. They were made to fight. From the beginning, Maidana wasn't supposed to be special. He didn't have the speed of a Mayweather or the smoothness of a Sugar Ray. What he did have was power. Raw, frightening power. The kind of power that could end a fight with a single left hook. The kind that didn't need translation. He started fighting not for glory, but for a paycheck. To support his family. To make something of his name. In Argentina, boxing was a way out, not a way up. And when Maidana entered that ring, he carried not just his dream, but the weight of everyone who ever told him he wasn't good enough. Early in his career, he built a reputation that spread like wildfire. He wasn't technical, but he was relentless. He didn't dance, he marched forward. Every fight was a war. Every round a test of will. He wasn't the kind of boxer you wanted to look good against, because win or lose, he'd make you hurt. Maidana's path to the big stage wasn't easy. He had to fight his way through forgotten cards in South America, take tough fights on short notice, and battle through close decisions that didn't always go his way. He was the definition of grit. No excuses, no drama, no shortcuts. When he first came to the United States, few people knew who he was. He didn't speak English, didn't play to the cameras, didn't fit the superstar mold. But he made people remember his name the only way he knew how, by fighting. One of his first statements to the boxing world came in 2009, when he went toe-to-toe with Victor Ortiz. Ortiz was the golden boy, the flashy new face of boxing. But when Maidana landed his right hand, the entire narrative changed. Ortiz quit on his stool. Maidana didn't just win, He broke a man's will. That night, fans realized there was something different about the Argentine brawler. Years passed. Maidana fought the best, lost a few, won more, and gained a cult following among real fight fans. He wasn't the smoothest, but he was one of the toughest. He'd been through wars with guys like Amir Khan, Eric Morales, and Jesus Soto Karass. And no matter who stood across from him, he came with the same promise: I'm going to fight you. By 2013, however, the grind had worn him down. Maidana had been through too many wars. His style was pure chaos. Wide punches, wild pressure, no defense. He was respected, but predictable. And some thought he'd peaked. That's when a new figure entered his life: trainer Robert Garcia. Garcia, a former world champion himself, saw something in Maidana that others didn't. He saw raw power that just needed focus. He didn't want to change Maidana. He wanted to refine him. Together, they went back to basics. Footwork drills, defensive movement, timing. Garcia taught Maidana how to cut the ring off smarter, throw straighter punches, and mix patience with aggression. And it worked. Maidana's comeback fight under Garcia wasn't just impressive, it was explosive. He started picking opponents apart with more control, landing cleaner shots, and still keeping that trademark violence. He wasn't just a brawler anymore. He was becoming a complete fighter. Robert Garcia once said in an interview, "Maidana doesn't talk much, but when he hits you, it speaks for him." And he was right. Maidana didn't need cameras or quotes. His language was leather and willpower. As the Broner fight approached, Garcia noticed something different in his fighter's eyes. This wasn't just another fight. This was personal. Broner's trash talk wasn't just disrespectful. It was insulting to everything Maidana stood for: humility, respect, work ethic. Broner had mocked Maidana's English. He laughed at his quiet demeanor. He even called him easy work.
Easy work.
But that silence Maidana carried wasn't weakness. It was warning. Every clip, every interview, every smug smile from Broner, it all built fuel. Behind that calm face, Maidana was preparing for something violent. He didn't care about the cameras. He didn't care about the odds. He only cared about one thing: shutting Adrian Broner's mouth in the most painful way possible. The press conferences told the whole story. Broner talked. Maidana stared. Broner laughed. Maidana nodded. The contrast was chilling. It wasn't showmanship anymore. It was tension you could feel through the screen. Reporters asked Maidana how he planned to deal with Broner's speed. He just said, "I'll hit him." Simple. Cold. Honest. That's all he needed to say. Fans began to sense something. Broner's act wasn't funny anymore. People weren't amused. They were irritated. And the more he talked, the more the world wanted to see him humbled. For Maidana, this wasn't about fame. It wasn't even about revenge. It was about proving that the sport still belonged to fighters, not entertainers. That behind all the noise, boxing is still a place where silence and discipline can crush arrogance. As the fight drew closer, Maidana's training camp turned into a war zone. Sparring partners couldn't last. He was sharper, stronger, angrier. Every punch in training carried a message. It said, "I'm ready." The night before the fight, the two men stood face to face one last time at the weigh-in. Broner was smirking, flexing, running his mouth. Maidana barely blinked. That cold stare told a story louder than any insult ever could. Broner laughed. Maidana didn't. Broner posed. Maidana turned and walked away. And in that moment, the entire boxing world felt it. The calm before the storm. The flashy talker had the spotlight. The silent Punisher had a plan. And when the lights went down in San Antonio, the world would finally see what happens when arrogance meets power. Up next, the press conferences explode. The trash talk gets personal, and the hype turns into hate. Because the more Broner talked, the worse his fall was about to be. Up next, fight night begins. The bell rings, and from the opening seconds, things go terribly wrong for Adrian Broner.
The bell and round one.
Ladies and gentlemen.
He walked in dancing, brushing his hair, smiling like the world belonged to him. Adrian the problem. Broner thought this would be another easy night, another highlight win, where he clowned his opponent and embarrassed him live on pay-per-view. He believed Marcos Maidana was just another victim, another stepping stone to Floyd Mayweather. He laughed, he flexed, he mocked, he talked like a king. But tonight, the boxing gods called for justice. Because inside that ring, waiting in the opposite corner, was a man who didn't laugh, didn't talk, didn't care about fame. The bell rang, and the war began. Broner, as usual, starts the fight with his shoulder roll swagger, that Mayweather imitation stance, that arrogant smirk. He backs up slowly, confident he will read Maidana and control the rhythm. But suddenly, boom! Maidana charges with a looping right hand that crashes into his guard. Broner tries to smile it off, but Maidana isn't smiling. Maidana isn't here to box cute. He's here to hit something until it breaks. Broner tries to jab. Maidana punches through it. Broner tries to hold. Maidana keeps swinging. Broner talks trash. Maidana doesn't respond. He just keeps punching. The crowd explodes as Maidana lands a hard left hook to the body, then chases Broner around the ring like a wolf chasing meat. Broner thought he'd have time to download data. Maidana made sure the download failed. And you know what makes it worse? Broner feels it. For the first time in his career, his face shows something he never shows: concern. Broner tries to fire back now, throwing counters. But Maidana just keeps coming forward with bad intentions. Every punch Maidana throws sounds heavy, painful, personal. Midway through the round, Maidana jabs upstairs and digs a brutal left hook to the liver. Broner stumbles back, hurt. Maidana smells blood. He launches forward like a missile. 1, 2, 3 punches land clean. And then it happens. The punch that changed everything. A wild overhand left smashes into Broner's jaw.
Sticks another right hand. Broner goes.
Adrian Broner drops to the canvas. Not slips, not stumbles. Drops.
Donna was throwing so many jabs to the body early.
The crowd loses its mind. The arrogant king is on the floor. The man who said no one could touch him just got touched by hell. Broner gets up, embarrassed, shaking his head like it didn't hurt. But we know that look. That's not confidence. That's panic with acting skills. The bell saves him. But the truth is already out. Broner isn't in control. He's in danger. Broner comes out trying to clinch, trying to hold, trying to slow things down. The crowd boos him. This isn't the flashy guy who brushed his hair mid-fight. This isn't the problem. This is a man trying not to get broken in half. Maidana keeps ripping to the body. Every punch Maidana lands sounds like a hammer slamming a wall.
For Maidana. And Steve, what do you think?
Broner occasionally fires a counter uppercut, but Maidana eats them like breakfast and keeps hunting. Broner tries to use his shoulder roll. Maidana goes around it. Broner tries to push him back. Maidana walks right through. Broner tries to talk trash. Maidana talks with fists only. Make no mistake, Maidana isn't fighting. He's punishing. Broner, frustrated and desperate, begins throwing elbows and pushing his forearm into Maidana's face. Maidana responds the only way fighters from the streets know how. He makes it uglier. They clash, wrestle, and roughhouse in close. Broner keeps trying to hold, but Maidana isn't playing gentle. The referee tries to separate them, but can't stop the violence. This isn't boxing anymore. This is personal. And Maidana is winning that fight too. Broner is now breathing heavy. He expected Maidana to fade, but the Argentinian nightmare doesn't slow down. He keeps coming, and he enjoys it. Maidana lands a right hand that snaps Broner's head back in a way we have never seen before. Broner's face changes. Literally. His swagger is gone. His smile is gone. His eyes look glassy and confused. He tries to dance away, tries to pot shot, but Maidana corners him and hammers him with vicious hooks. Every Maidana punch now has hate behind it. This isn't just about winning. This is about humbling a man who disrespected everybody in the sport. Broner starts complaining to the referee because he feels helpless. Because Maidana is beating the attitude out of him. The energy in the arena shifts. The same fans who once watched Broner clown opponents are now laughing at him. Karma is cooking live under the Vegas lights, and Broner is the main dish. Maidana lands another massive right. The crowd chants for Maidana. Think about that for a second. Broner walked in as a superstar. Maidana walked in as the underdog. By round 6, the people chose their warrior, and it wasn't Broner. Broner lands a clean uppercut. Maidana doesn't move. Broner backs away. Because in that moment, Broner learns that some men don't break. This fight is supposed to be in Broner's favor now. The script was written for Maidana to get tired, to slow down, to fade. But Maidana doesn't read scripts. He's writing his own.
Steve, what do you think?
Maidana lands a left hook so hard that Broner bounces off the ropes. Boom! Maidana chases and unloads a furious combination that sends Broner stumbling. He looks lost. He looks desperate. He looks human. Then, history happens. Maidana launches a left hook that detonates against Broner's skull like a grenade. Broner falls. Again. Harder this time. He crashes to the canvas in complete humiliation. The arena erupts. People are screaming. He doesn't pop up quickly this time. He's trying to gather his soul before standing back up. He survived, but a piece of him stayed down there on that canvas. Some fighters get dropped, others get humbled. Broner, he got exposed. Now, Broner tries everything, including acting. Maidana accidentally bumps him with his head during a clinch, and Broner collapses like he got hit with a bat. He tries to fake being headbutted badly to get Maidana disqualified. The ref sees through it. The crowd hates it. The commentators roast him. It was a moment of pure weakness. Instead of fighting back like a man, Broner tried to cheat, and it backfired. The humiliation continues. Broner finally shows some heart. He steps up, lands clean shots, unloads heavy counters. For the first time, Maidana feels a little resistance. Broner digs deep and fires back like a wounded animal. Credit to him, he didn't quit. But Maidana isn't moved. He tastes Broner's best shots and keeps walking him down like the Terminator. Broner isn't talking anymore. His mouth, once loaded with disrespect, is now silent. Maidana walks him down, punching him against the ropes, bruising his pride and breaking his ego. Broner grabs, holds, survives. But Maidana keeps punishing him, reminding him of every insult, every disrespectful laugh, every time he thought he was untouchable. Maidana makes sure Broner pays in full, and with interest. The final round begins, and Broner is beaten, not just physically, but spiritually. Maidana doesn't run. He doesn't coast. He marches forward and fights until the final bell. He refuses to let Broner steal a moment of pride.
We are headed to the judges' scorecards. A big exclamation point on the year 2013.
When the bell rings, it isn't Broner who raises his hand. It's Maidana. And it isn't Broner walking around the ring bragging. He walks straight to the locker room. No smiles, no showboating, no dancing, just shame. The judges read the scorecards. Marcos Maidana wins by unanimous decision. No controversy, no robbery, no debate. And when the camera finds Broner, his face tells the truth. No more arrogance, no more king talk, no more about billions. He got beat. He got humbled. He got exposed. He walked in brushing his hair. He walked out brushing off reality. Because that night belonged to El Chino. And that was the night the world remembered. Power is real. Respect is earned. Mouths don't win fights. Fists do. Victory wasn't enough. That night was about more than a win. It was justice. Marcos Maidana didn't just outbox Adrian Broner. He exposed him. He broke him. He humbled him in front of the world. And as the arena roared for Maidana, Broner tried to run. Literally. He didn't raise his hand. He didn't shake anyone's hand. He didn't even look at the crowd. He turned his back and escaped to the locker room like a man hiding from his own reflection. But there was nowhere to hide. Not from the cameras, not from the fans, not from history. The moment he reached the tunnel, the world saw it live. Adrian Broner cried. The same Broner who said he runs boxing. The same guy who mocked legends and disrespected warriors. The same guy who laughed at opponents and called himself the new Floyd Mayweather.
You know I'm the best.
That night, the clown makeup melted off. And all that was left was a broken ego and a reality he could no longer talk his way out of. Meanwhile, Maidana, bruised, breathing hard, smiling in pain, stood tall, like a warrior who came from the dust and climbed his way through violence and sacrifice. He didn't need to scream. He didn't need to boast. He didn't need a gimmick. His fists did enough talking for one lifetime. In a sport filled with talkers, Marcos Maidana was a rare reminder. You don't need to speak English to speak violence. You don't need to act tough when you are tough. You don't need to brag when your fists already tell the truth. Some fighters win belts. Some fighters win money. But only a few win respect. And that night, Marcos Maidana became one of them. This is boxing. This is war. This is justice. Thanks for watching. Welcome to the boxing lane.